you wanted was love, but that was never enough. No, never enough. 'Cause you were chasing your dreams, now you can't redeem yourself. You were chasing your dreams, now you can't redeem yourself. Disregarding your name, your smell is all that remains. They say you're an SLUT, but that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. We're all looking to be loved. And somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Till then, you'll still be a boy. To be loved. And somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Until then, we'll all be yours.
Good evening, race fans. I'm Pirate here, Black Flag Racing TV. Something a little bit different for you this evening. This is the SNL Formula X Championship, Season 5, round number 5, coming to you, ironically, on today of all days, from the iconic Circuit de la Sarthe, home, of course, of the 24-hour Le Mans, which, if any of you were paying attention was going on until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Congratulations to Ferrari, finally winning Le Mans for God knows how long. Unlucky to Toyota, who cocked it up towards the end and couldn't really keep the pace up on the Ferraris. But we move on to Super Formulas here with SNL live for your viewing pleasure. I hope you can all hear me well. So, what is this all about, I hear you ask, or not? I'm going to tell you anyway. It's complicated, so take your seats. No, I'm joking, it's not that complicated, really. It is a 10-race season with, quite simply, a really, really cool setup. So, they're using the Honda SF23 Super Formula Dallara car. Everyone is using the same car. They are split in 2 teams of 2, which will be denoted by their liveries, which you'll spot as we get out to track in a little while. But it's a 10-race championship, points available for finishing positions each race and fastest lap, with a drop score system in place, dropping the 2 worst rounds overall, and that is an ongoing process. Reserve drivers are limited to 5 races in the season, so it's really about team performances. All races are 120 miles, so today at Circuit de la Sarthe will be about 15 laps, if my math is correct. Each car is allocated the following qualifying tyres of the season: 3 soft, 3 medium, 4 hard. They have to pick which one they're going to use for each qualifying session, and they've got to stick with it. They're also allocated for the races: 14 soft, 12 medium, 8 hards for the season. Awesomeness. Basically, there's a kind of handicap system in place, so the top 3 from each race have the tyre allocation changed. First will lose one of their softest qualified tyres, which is swapped to a hard, and the softest race tyres also swapped to a hard. Second loses their softest qualifying tyres to the next hardest tyre and the softest to a hard, and then third loses one of their softest race tyres to a hard. All very confusing unless you're keeping up. Now, there was a problem with it going out on the SNL site, but it seems that has now solved itself. I was getting an error message up that it hadn't been age verified and therefore couldn't broadcast elsewhere. But if it's working, it's working. There we go. Who knows? Moving swiftly on, shall we? So they have to allocate the sets of tyres they're going to use for each race. They don't have to use them all, but once they've nominated them, they don't get them again. They don't keep the tyres they don't use. They nominate the tyres for the race. Shall we have a look at what people have nominated? Qualifying is about to start soonish. So there we go. That is the tyres everyone's allocated for themselves for this race. Wolfbane and FRLTB4 for Brawn. Soft, medium, and soft, medium. Bad Payoso from Arrows, medium, hard. And his teammate JJ Trim gone the same way, medium, hard. I think that's the best shout in all fairness. Just need what, Jam? Just need what? Good evening, Jay. How you doing, man? Alexis Maximus for Aston Martin and his teammate Cthulhu from VRC. Oh, VRC. Thingamajig's team. Say hello to Thingamajig for me. They've gone for soft, medium, hard. Digi. I've not seen him around for a while. Used to be in Black Flag for a bit. And Jam, of course, both from Ferrari. They've gone soft, hard. Cal Trim and Cool Dude Boy, both for Jordan, medium, hard. The 2 lowest drivers gone for different strategies. Drunk Susan's gone for medium, hard. Illusion's gone for medium and 2 hards. Intulo and Spunkmeyer, that's what I'm going to call him. It's probably Spankmeyer, but I'm going to call him Spunkmeyer because he didn't put the vowel in. They're racing in the Toyota, and they're both opting to use hard compound tyres only. Bravery personified, going long in this particular race, I fear. So that's how it looks tyre-wise. Quali looks a little bit like this. They essentially go out, it's one hot lap quali, so you'll go out one by one, a minute apart to make sure there's lots of space on the track. With it being a 3-minute 19, let's say qualifying is going to be somewhere around the 3-minute 20 mark ish. Yeah, 3-minute 20 mark, something like that. So it's yes, it's going to be about 3 minutes in. So we're looking at about 20 minutes qualifying or so, as everybody gets out. So minute apart, 13 minutes before they're all out on your before they're all out on the track. Sorry, I'm trying to read two things at once. Sometimes people write things that don't make sense. Yeah, so everyone goes out 1 minute apart. So 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, 6 minute, 7 minute, 8 minute, 9 minute, 10 minute, 11 minute, 12 minute, and 13 minutes back to back to back to back to back. Simple as. Confused? Yeah, me too. No, not at all. This is how the order looks after. Let's do this correctly. There we go. That's after round number 4. As you can see, the ones in red, that's the dropped rounds where the lowest scoring points, which are dropped off the leaderboard. Cool Dude Boy currently sits atop the tree with 55 points. There have currently been there's currently been 4 different winners in the top 4 in the first 4 races. Four winners in the first 4 races, and then 5. This will be the 5th race, so we'll see what comes out this time. Bear with me. I've already started the stream. All the streams run through Black Flag Racing TV. But yeah, I always have done, and I multi-stream out from there. Because my software's set up for 18 plus, if you've got a problem with your side, with it not being verified, it won't broadcast there anyway. And it's all set up on the software to go through it. Basically, everything I stream has to go through Black Flag Racing TV because that's the way the software is set up. And then other YouTube channels then go on there. Otherwise, I've got to remove all of my YouTube details off of the software and then add yours separately, which means basically deactivating my YouTube from the software, which is an absolute pain in the ass. So everything I do is multi-streamed. I've not had a problem doing it before. The problem this time is purely to do with the 18 plus issue, that it's not been verified for 18 plus. So I apologise for that. I didn't realise you had that problem with it until I went to broadcast and it sent me the error message back. I did actually try it twice, but couldn't do anything about it. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, apologies. It's the way my software is set up. It's everything broadcast through Black Flag Racing TV because it's linked to the software. There we go. Because I don't do it straight from my PlayStation either, as you can see. So anyway, back to the leaderboard. There we go. 2 conversations at once. The Jordan, Toyota, Aston Martin. That's your top 4 at the moment. Aston Martin with some solid points constructor-wise. And this is how the constructors look at the moment. Aston Martin top of the tree. 99 points. K2 with it being the team principal, of course. They are followed not too far behind, 78 points with the Lotus team. Toyota in 3rd. It's just 1 point behind Lotus. Jordan in 4th position, 60 points for them. The RS team on 56. Another VRC driver. The team principal there, VRC Pat. Wolfbane heads up Braun GP, who are on 48 points in 6th. And Gazman heads up the Ferrari team, currently on 44 points in 7th place, and obviously the drop rounds are on there as well. So all to race for today. We'll go back to the quali setup, shall we? Because you can see there, you've got the Lotus and the Jordan going to be first out on track. Now, the thing about one-shot qualifying is quite simply this. If you get it wrong, you're done. And this is a tricky circuit, particularly the first part of the circuit. And we're going to jump in a minute, actually, because qualifying started. It's 3 minutes between. Right, so we'll see who's out on track. Shall we have a look? Let's get cracking with this, shall we? And get all the information on. I don't like the fact that we've got to do this every single time we log into a lobby. It seems counterproductive to me. So there we go, Illusion out on track, and not too far back there is Alohi. He's in the Jordan, you can tell from the Benetton and Hedges livery. That is very, very cool. It's one of my favourite ever F1 liveries, that. Absolutely awesome. There is Illusion there. In the Lotus Ford. Very, very awesome liveries, these. So, both on their out lap, we should see another one jumping out pretty soon. That would be Bad Payaso. No, that's the wrong one. Absolutely the wrong one. That's what we wanted. Yeah, Bad Payaso. I was right. Should be coming out next, and there they are. They're out. They are in the Arrows. A very, very cool Cosworth Arrows car, which was not too shabby in its day. Not too shabby at all. That's an interesting way through there, and he's learned to fly. Very much so learned to fly. Now, it'd be interesting to see what the lap times are here. These are incredibly quick cars. Get to top speed very, very quickly. But we'll go on board with. I think we'll go on board with Illusion, as he's about to start, or not too far off, starting his hot lap. So we'll do it on board, and we'll run through what the track's all about. To be fair, if you've been watching any of the Le Mans 24-hour this weekend, you should be pretty familiar with this track. I'll be very surprised if anyone doesn't know the track that well after watching. I mean, I'd like to say I watched all 24 hours. I didn't. I did watch significantly more than half of it. I think I slept for about. I was up at sort of 7ish and then watched the rest of it today. I didn't watch much through the night. So here we go. So you head through the Porsche chicane, the Ford chicane, sorry, and head up the start and finish straight, which takes you straight away into the Dunlop curves. Through the Dunlop curves, getting changed down into second gear, back on that power as you head round now and down towards the S's, which is this section of the racetrack here. Again, changing, just keeping that on the road. You can use a lot of those rumble strips either side. Into Tetra Rouge, get that braking done. Don't cross over that line, you don't want to get a penalty. And then it is head down, foot to the floor as you head down the Mulsanne Straight, the first part of the Mulsanne Straight, which takes you to L'Arche chicane, the first chicane, which should be coming up very, very shortly. And we'll do the onboard actually from that perspective. Here we go, as you head down, this is a large chicane. Get on the brakes around that 100 metre ball, get it turned in. You use all the road, you can get really wide there before you get back on the power, let the car drift. Very, very squirrely at the front, you can see it just wiggling around under the power of these Super Formula cars. And Illusion is now heading down the second part of, second of three parts of the Mulsanne Straight, which takes you down to La Flandriere. I think I've pronounced that right, something like that. La Flandriere. The second chicane. Let's go with that. Back onto the Mulsanne Straight. Two very different chicanes, actually, very different ways of approaching them. You want to stick to the left-hand side because you go through the Mulsanne Kink and then into Mulsanne Corner, which essentially is kind of sector 4. And here we go. You brake in a straight line, let the car drift out as you're braking down into first gear. Nice and tight. Hug that apex before you get back on that power again, and then head down towards one of my favourite corners in racing. The Parabolica, great corner at Monza, of course. This, I think, is a close second for me. This is Indianapolis, and I love the way that you approach this in different ways for different speeds of car. There's some you can take this flat out, the first part of it flat out. There's some where you just don't have the grip, and on the brakes into Indianapolis. Back on the power again, heading up, and you've got to be really careful not to go too wide there, heading up to Arnage, this right-hander that takes you round this long straight down towards the famous Porsche curves. And this is where it's about throttle control. It's about making sure you've got the grip in the tyres, obviously, but mostly about throttle control and making sure you just look after your throttle all the way through, and you're just giving it the right kind of beans at the right kind of time, and then of course you can unleash again. This is where you got to let off the power a little bit, or maybe not in these super formulas. They actually holds it in the super formulas. You let off a little bit there though, once you go through Maison Blanche, I think it's called, Maison Blanche. Heading down, of course, start the pit straight on your right hand side into the forward chicane, 2 of them, changing down through the gears, and then you are back on the power, and that is your lap around Le Mans. And there we go, that's his lap done. Illusion sets, why has he not set a lap? He hasn't set a lap, so clearly he picked up a penalty of some sort, so that would put him towards the back of the grid. Next is Aloy, Bad Payaso, TB4, Digi, Intulo, and Jam all on track. Spunkmeyer and Maximus, Drunksters and Cthulhu still to go out on track. But we're 7 minutes into this qualifying session, yet to have anyone properly on pole, really. Cool Dude, well, it says Illusion there did 3:25.2. Cool Dude, well, this is the problem with them diving straight into the pits, is you don't really get their time. Because I think it's actually done in their practice. I don't think they're doing it in a proper qualifying session, which is the problem. I think they're doing it with practice, which is an odd way of qualifying. You could do it in this format with qualifying if you set a long. I suppose you can't do it this way of qualifying, can you? No. So we don't get to see the time. So Cool Dude Boy, it's got him in first, but I don't think he is on pole because Illusion's got the fastest lap with 3:25.2. 9/10 of a second, or in fact, yeah, nearly a second slower is Alohi, who is finished. Bad Payaso, very wide there. That is Penaltiesville out there coming through Maison Blanche as he heads down into the Ford chicanes to set his hot lap. I was expecting to see sub 320s in this car. To be fair, not seen it yet. That's a 3:24, so that puts him above Illusion. 3:24.9 for Bad Payaso. I'm just going to call him Bad because it's too long. Next up, TB4. I think, is it TB4 or is it Digi? Trying to see who else is out on track. Oh, he's on an outlap. It's all very confusing. So TB4, he'll be the next one to set a qualifying time. How's it looking? He did a 3:23 in his outlap, which is not really an indication of how quickly they're going, because of course it's your outlap. But we will soon find out as he goes into the Ford chicane. That looked a little bit weird, didn't it? It almost looked like the car forgot to brake. Here he goes across the line. That is fastest yet. That's a 3:24.1 for TB4. And I want to remove that because it looks stupid. So Digi goes quickest with a 3:23.6. That's a really solid time. He qualified on those soft compound tyres. That is going to give a bit of an advantage to anyone on the softs because you should get the extra grip, which is particularly useful through areas like the Porsche chicane, the Dunlop at the beginning as well. You can get down on that power just that little bit quicker, brake that little bit later. Intulo, he is currently on his hot lap. He's just heading out of the Mulsanne curve into essentially the return leg on this awesome racetrack. Intulo is a Portuguese driver. I'm assuming he's Portuguese. He could, to be fair, if I've learned anything from this game, it could be any nationality. He just happens to be in Portugal right now. Yeah, so there you go. But lots of British drivers in this lobby. Unusual to see so many Brits in a lobby, particularly being broadcast on Black Flag Racing TV. But it says Cool Dude Boy is on pole, but he doesn't have the fastest lap, so I don't quite know how that works. Who knows? But Intulo, he's got few corners left before he sets his time. Jam's on his hot lap now. Wolfbane on the hot lap. Drunk Susan on the out lap. Cthulhu also on the out lap, as is Alexis Maximus. Spunkmeyer will come out in about 20 seconds for their out lap. Nice and spread out. Is a minute apart necessary? I think on a track this long, I think 30 seconds apart is probably sufficient. I think the short tracks, obviously, you probably need it a minute apart, just keeping everyone out of each other's way. Attempting to make sure someone's at the end of a lap when you're at the beginning of the lap. Until across the line, that says fourth fastest. 6/10 of a second, which will put him on row number 2. Now, confusingly, it says the Cool Dude Boy is first, but I have a feeling he hasn't been out yet, so I don't know how he can be first. Let's have a look. Where's the quali? That's the race tyres. Yeah, he's going to be the last one out, so he hasn't actually set a time. So as it stands at the moment, it is Digi on pole. He's got TB4 for company on that front row. Intulo and Bad Poissa, or whatever his name is, they are on row 2. Illusions on row 3 and joined by Alohi, but not anymore. Illusion stays on row 3. Alohi moves to row 4 as... who is it that's just set a hot lap? It's Jam. Jam has put himself on pole with a 3:22.7 on those soft compound tyres. Cool Dude Boy now out on track and is looking to set their qualifying time. Who we're still waiting for? Wolfbane. Wolfbane is coming towards the end of their hot lap now. The target is a 3:22.7. That's an absolutely fabulous lap from Jam, given the other lap times as well. I did fully expect to see a sub 3:20 here in these cars, particularly because I would have thought these are a little bit quicker than the Group 1 cars, and and they've got overtake as well, which is always useful. And I mean, the Group 1 fastest class time is like 3:19, I think, on the time trial. Congratulations if you managed to get gold, of course. It takes a Brawn GP car across the line, and that's good enough for row number 2. Who's left? Drunk Susan. Drunk Susan looking to set their time now. As it stands at the moment, it is Jam and Digi on row 1. Row 2 is Wolfbane with TB4. Intulo and Bad I can't even bother trying. Bad to the bone on row 3. Illusion and Alohi on row 4. We've got 5 drivers still to set time. Drunk Susan is the first of those and is currently purple in that's the Lotus, isn't it? He is currently purple coming up to the Ford chicane. Is he still purple when he crosses this line? That's the hunker burning question. Across the line he goes, and that is not good enough for pole. It is good enough for row 3. That relegates Alohi down to row number 5. Next to set their time, Cthulhu. Everyone now on track. Cool Dude Boy still on the out lap as Spunkmeyer's about to start his hot lap. So Alexis Maximus and Cthulhu are currently on their hot laps. That is purple for Cthulhu. Does it remain so when we get to the end of this lap? 2 minutes in, still a minute and a bit to go. Absolutely mashing that overtake on the way down to Indianapolis. And you want to use all of that on your qualifying lap, and make sure you get every single ounce of power out of your car. And that is a very, very obvious Aston Martin Cognizant livery, and it's looking fine. One of my favourite liveries this year is the Aston Martin one. I think it looks good. The thing about it is it looks expensive. All the brands on the Aston Martin car are expensive brands, and it kind of oozes class from that respect. And obviously Aston Martin oozes class anyway, because it's just class. it is what it is. Still purple, heading into the Porsche curves. Can he stay that way through Maison Blanche and then into the Ford chicane? Maison Blanche is done. Heads down towards the start, finish straight through the Ford chicane. That's Ford chicane 1. Ford chicane 2 on that power in the 81 Aramco Aston Martin. That's across the line, and that, my friend, is pole position with a 320.4. That's a phenomenal lap. Do we have a sub 320? A Lexus or Maximus into Indianapolis, and they go. What's the word I'm looking for? That's the word. Go. Can they push Ketulu off pole position? It is Ketulu from Jam from Digital Bias for me. Then Wolfbane, that's the front 2 rows. TV4, Drunk Susan, row 3. Intilo and Bird to the Bone on row 4. Illusion and Aloha on row 5. Where is Alexis Maximus slotting in to that top 10? If at all, are they slotting into the top 10? How right have they got this? They're on these soft compound tyres, so you would expect the time would be pretty quick. Here we go, across the line. Is that sub 320? Not quite, but it is good enough for pole position. That's a 320.1. That puts Ketulu down to second. Everyone shuffling down the order. Everybody now on their hot lap. Spunkmeyer going to be next to set time. Cool Dude Boy will follow in the Jordan. So Spunkmeyer is heading down into the Porsche curves for the only qualifying lap here, and we can see that the qualifying is done. Spunkmeyer in the Toyota, Cool Dude Boy in the Jordan. There's a Toyota there as well, but I don't think it is. No, it's the Jordan. It is the Jordan. Of course it is. Spunkmeyer on the hard compound tyres, so going to have a little bit less grip, a little bit less traction out of the corners, but you would imagine because it's done a reverse championship order, you would expect that these guys are pretty quick, but that is only good enough for the third row for Spunkmeyer on those tyres. That's a 323. Just one driver left to set a time in that brilliant Benson and Hedges Jordan liveried motor car. Not quite the same because it hasn't got the teeth on the front, that kind of shark thingy, but still pretty darn cool. Anyway, what's he got? Is this where we see pole position being snatched away right at the death? If we look at the standings, Cool Dude Boy currently sitting atop of that tree, so Spunkmeyer losing out quite badly there with not such a great time. Is going to have to start a bit further back, but that of course depends on whether Cool Dude Boy has got enough in the tank on those hard tyres to get on to the front of the grid, and I don't think that's going to be good enough. That's only good enough for row 2. That's your qualifying lineup. It's a Lexus Maximus from Ketulu on row 1. Row 2 with Cool Dude Boy and Jam. Row 3 is Digi with Spunkmeyer. Wolfbane with TB4 on row 4. Drunk Susan with Intulo on row 5. Row 6 is Bad to the Bone. Illusion is joining him on row 6. Row 7 is Aloha. 6 seconds off the pace. But that 320.1, that was a pretty darn awesome, damn fine qualifying time. So we know where we're at. We know what's expected of everybody. We can have another quick look at the tyres everyone has allocated for themselves, shall we? If it works. There we go. So your pole sitter, Alexis Maximus, has a choice of the soft, medium, and the hard compound tyre. They have choices. In fact, Wolfbane, TB4, Cthulhu, Digi and Jam all have soft tyres available. Some more than others. Some have 2 available. Everybody else has mediums, bar Intulu and Spunkmeyer, who have opted just for hard compound tyres in that Toyota. So there we have it. That was a pretty darn good, and it was qualifying. It wasn't qualifying setup, just a bit of a weird one. It was difficult to work out who was where with people staying in the pits, I suppose. But there we go. So we know what tyres everyone's going to be putting on board. All we need to do now is start the race. Looking forward to this one. This is going to be a doozy of a race, I think. There's some good, solid qualifying going on there. Let's get into the race and find out what is occurring. And come on, Peter, he sorted out. I shouldn't have to do this every single time a race starts. It should be set as I like it. Let's be careful into turn one, people. You should stay out of each other's way through turn one. And that's 4 lights, that's 5. They go out and away we go. No false starts. Everyone seemed to get away pretty cleanly. Alexis Maximus and Kate Tulu already takes first place. The 2 Spanish drivers battling out for first. The 2 Aston Martins in first and second. Got a couple of people making a little bit of a meal of that turn one, going a little bit wide. So as we go through for the first time, head down towards Mulsanne for the first time, we can see Kate Tulu and Alexis Maximus in the lead, the 2 Aston Martins, as we hit the Mulsanne straight for the first time. And this is where we get an opportunity to get a great view from the back. Look at that. And you can see how strong that slipstream is, as Alexis Maximus just giving a little nudge to his teammate, bumping him up the road, little bit of bump, drafty. Be careful with you. I suppose you're lucky in this game that your wing can't fall off. You can't get away with that in any other racing game, can you? Not with a front wing like that, it will come off. So as we go through the first chicane, the rundown looks like this. Kate Tulu leads from his Spanish teammate Alexis Maximus. Jam is in second, 1.1 seconds clear, already putting away from the slipstream. From giving up slipstream, should I say, to Wolfbane in fourth. Cool Dude Boy, current championship leader, sits in 5th place. He's almost inside Wolfbane coming through there. I mean, that is some very, very close racing. Look at that. He's actually inside him. Look at the state of that. They are inside each other. You've got to love the physics of this game. Right, so he is under braking. He has now got up into 4th. They are no longer entered inside each other, and we're getting on with racing again. They got very, very friendly, much friendlier than you should be allowed to at this level of racing. So Wolfbane drops down to 5th place. Digi running in 6th, just 8 cents back, 1.3 ahead of Illusion, who has TB4 company. So I did there. It's almost like it was written for me. He's in that Brawn GP car coming into Indianapolis, having a little look up the inside, catches the back of that Lotus, which gets a little bit squirrely, but no damage, no broken car. Drunk Susan in 9th place, a second back from TB4, with bad to the bone all over the back of that car. Is there a way through as they head down into the Porsche curbs for the end of this lap 1? And is certainly having a look. I thought for a moment there we were going to see Bad going very, very wide, but it didn't pan out that way. And this is the battle for 9th place. Drunk Susan holding on just 4 tenths up, slightly over the white lines there. May well have got away with that though. It looks like the shortcut penalties are very, very favourable, because a couple of times we're seeing cars really abusing the track limits and really getting away with it as well, which is devastating for me, because I like to see people get penalties. It makes me happy to see people's suffering. So there we have it. Running in 10th position, Alohi is running in 11th in that Jordan, and has got Spunkmeyer all over his back. And anyone will tell you the last thing you want all over your back when you're driving is Spunkmeyer. as we head down to the Mulsanne Straight. This is lap 2 of 15. If you are just joining us, this is the Sunday Night League Formula X Championship, round number 5, brought to you from the home of the 24 Hour at Le Mans, as in Tullow giving a little bumpy bump to Spunkmeyer. They're trying to get them up the road, the two teammates in the Toyotas, trying to keep up with that Jordan as they head into the chicane for the second time. This is round 5, as I said, from Le Mans. Currently, 4 different winners in the first 4 races. Are we going to have another new winner here in round number 5? We've got some varying strategies going on at the moment. Interestingly, that some have opted to only bring hard compound tyres to this race, which I'm not entirely sure that's going to be the smartest decision. Yes, you're going to be able to run long, but how long can you realistically run? Because you're going to have to pit for fuel at some stage, and you might as well be putting on tyres at the same time. It's about a 20 odd second, I think it's 28 second pit loss without fuel. And then obviously you've got whatever, how much fuel you want to put on board, and the time it takes for that. So Alexis Maximus has taken the lead from his teammate Cthulhu. The two Spanish drivers dominating out in front at the moment. Jam can hang on, but 1.6 seconds behind those fast disappearing Aston Martin Cognizant racing cars. Jam, as you can see, is trying to hang with them in the Ferrari, and want to be kind of a little bit closer, really getting some slipstream. It is a little bit closer now to Cthulhu. Was well until he served that penalty, of course, because Cool Dude Boy is through and up into third. Can we see what happened there to get him up into third? Can we? It looks to me like it purely was just... Oh no, he went a little bit wide, very wide in fact, through there. And that allowed Cool Dude Boy just to breeze on through and take third place. So starting to charge forward. That has, of course, left the gap, though, for the front two to 2.8 seconds. To give them a little bit of breathing room. They can work now as a team, the two teammates, just try to keep that gap as distant as possible. And there's going to be a buzzing sound in the background, and it's not me using my my Happy Time toy. I've got a fan that I'm running, and I'm turning it up. I turned it down to avoid the buzzing, but I'm putting it back on full blast, and I don't care because it's hotter than that front door of Hades in my house right now. Wolfbane 2 seconds down the road. Cool Dude Boy is a little bit adrift. He hasn't really got any pressure from behind. It's 2.5 behind. He's already got that down to 1.4 ahead. Fastest lap thus far for him on the medium compound tyres as well, with a 3:22.7. Has absolutely been giving it some massive beans. So will this be a case of Cool Dude Boy breaking the trend of a different winner for every race and taking the checkered flag today and cementing and consolidating not only Jordan at the top of the Constructors' Championship, but himself at the top of the Drivers' Championship, as he currently leads the way, looking pretty good thus far. He's reeling those Spanish drivers in like they stole his suitcases. I don't know why. I thought of that analogy. Who knows? Midfield. How are we looking in the midfield? Jam's dropped down after that little squirrely. He's joined Digital Bias for me, or Digi. His teammate in 5th and 6th as Digi goes through, and Jam is tanking down that order, much like the second Ferrari did at Le Mans earlier today. Will we see another Ferrari win at Le Mans this evening? Very possibly. There's certainly no reason why not. TB4, when the crowd say bowl, the selector, he's in the Brawn. TB, does that stand for the Brawn? I'm assuming the RA is a race asylum thing. Could be wrong. Currently running 0.6 of a second behind Jam, 1.6 clear of Illusion. And it's not an illusion, he did just fly around that corner. That was no illusion, it actually happened. I've got to say that the quality of the I'm trying to think of the right word. The quality of the graphics on the way these cars behave when they're driving on the Super Formulas is not great in comparison to the GT cars. They seem to flip and jitter about a bit and fly, and I don't know. It doesn't feel. When you watch the GT cars on this game, it feels quite realistic and it looks quite realistic, and you could quite easily take off the screen and someone could be fooled from a distance. With these though, they almost it's not that they're pixelated, but it's difficult to describe. It's a bit odd. It looks weird. It looks weird. That's all I'm saying. I can't put my finger on what it is. It's not one specific thing that stands out. It's just a number of things look a little bit odd. Please ignore the please refuel thing in the middle. That is because somebody at PD, when they fixed the last round of cock-ups, decided to get a whole new cock-up out of the box of cock-ups that they keep in their office. When they fixed the spectator mode that was thoroughly broken on the release of the VR2. They did fix it eventually though. Anyway, he didn't need to refuel. Bad to the bone. US driver running in 9th, 1.1 seconds behind Illusion, 6/10 up from Drunk Susan, who is running in 10th place, 4.8 seconds ahead of La Loha, who's under significant pressure there from Spunkmeyer. Can Spunkmeyer find a way through? Cool Dude Boy still hasn't got around the two Spanish drivers, although they have swapped position yet again. Ketulu leading from Alexis Maximus, but the gap is right down. It's a lot closer than it was on lap number 3, and it won't be long. In fact, I thought then we were going to see Alexis Maximus diving up the inside, but I think these two are trying to work together to keep away from Cool Dude Boy. He's got himself within half a second of the back of that Aston Martin driven by Alexis Maximus, and looking to move that Jordan forward. He's on those medium compound tyres. The two front runners, Ketulu's on softs and Alexis Maximus also on softs. So they're actually going to need to pit before Cool Dude Boy as well, because of the tyre wear situation. Or they're saying that. Looking at the fuel, I think the fuel's going to be a problem long before the tyres are. They're not really balanced that well, are they? Usually you expect to see someone running the softs having to think about their fuel a little bit. But note today, as we see the move getting made, Cool Dude Boy makes that move, and he makes it look incredibly easy. You can see here he comes. That's not the driver we want, that's the driver we want. Using that slipstream on the back of that Aston Martin into the Mulsanne curve, under braking, just so much braver on the brakes, and into the right-hander, and up the road he goes after his teammate. Although Alexis Maximus has regained that position as they go into the Indianapolis turn. Great corner that, to be fair. Great corner. Great place to do the old switcheroo as well. I find it works. See what I mean about it feels very clunky. Very clunky watching these cars. You don't really get that with the GT cars. It's just with the Super Formulas. Even some of the other single seaters, you don't really get that clunkiness. I don't understand why. If you can't do it right, just don't put them in PD. Maybe not. Who knows? Ketulu and Alexis Maximus still holding on to two Aston Martin Spanish drivers, holding on from the charge of Cool Dude Boy. He is not letting up though. Relentlessly hunting these two Espanol drivers and trying to find a way through. We've got a very Brit heavy grid today. Cool Dude Boy just set the fastest lap in the race on that lap 3, the 3:21.1. To put that in perspective, that's 5 seconds quicker than the slowest qualifying time. He is super duper quick. Wolfbane in 4th place. A little bit wrongly is Wolfbane. 3 seconds behind Cool Dude Boy. No real way of closing that gap at the moment. And 3.5 clear of TB4. who's coming around. He's also in the Brawn liveried motor car. He's running the soft compound tyres, as is Wolfbane. If we have a quick another look at tyres, if we remember, that's not the one. That's the one. You can see that they've Wolfbane's got one extra set of softs over TB4. TB4 next time out will be on the medium compound tyres because that's all they have left. Now it's very likely that some are going to stay on. If they're on the soft compound tyres or the mediums, I imagine you'll stay on those tyres when they come into the pits for fuel. I think the pit window is probably going to be open in about 2 laps time. It's a one-stop race all day long. I think I can't see anyone not one-stopping this. I think you can comfortably do, with a bit of fuel saving, you can comfortably do 8-7 or 7-8, depending on which way round you wanted to do it. Is anyone going to two-stop it? I can't imagine that would be a sensible approach, really. They're on lap 5 now, so with a little bit of fuel saving, you could easily make it to lap 8. And that's where the slipstream comes in handy. Oh, that is completely the wrong way.
You can't park that there, mate.
Yeah, you cannot park that there, mate. That absolutely doesn't belong on that part of the racetrack. Absolutely doesn't belong there. So, he is back on the racetrack now, though. 8 tenths behind. And I was going to say 8 tenths behind Drunk Susan, but bad to the bone. He's getting involved with Drunk Susan. They're having a little tete-a-tete, them two. Swapping places a few times. But now, Digi getting nice and cosy in behind Bad to the Bone. The US driver sandwiched between big gaggle of British contingents. And it's if you're going to colonise, lads, now's the time to do it. Because only one of them, they can't fight you all off. There we go. The only Greek in the room, Illusion. And it's not Illusion, he is in that Lotus, and he is 4.6 seconds back from that midfield battle. 2.6 ahead. Meanwhile, out in front, Cool Dude Boy has found himself in a bit of an Aston Martin sandwich. Quite fitting that he's yellow. It's the yellow bit of cheesy cheese in between the two green Aston Martins. But is he trying to fight his way out past K Tulu? He's got to contend with a Lexus Maximus, taking a very interesting line there. Still putting pressure on behind. So it's not all plain sailing for Cool Dude Boy as they dive into the pits at the end of lap 5. So it is going to be a 2-stop race, 3-stint race for these front runners. Who else is going to dive in? Is TB4 going to come in? Yes. Jam is also in. Drunk Susan into the wall on the way in. Brad's in. Digital is in. Illusion in. Nobody's doing anything brave on the pit strategy. They're all just going hell for leather. No one's saving fuel. Everyone's decided they're going to come straight in. Now, how many are actually going to change tyres? Because if they're doing a 2-stopper and they're all coming in on lap 5 and again on lap 10, then the tyres they've got on will last. But even the softs will go at least one more stint or one more full tank of fuel. Ketulu comes out in the lead. Didn't quite fill the tank to the brim, which is why the gap is 1.2 seconds. Cool Dude Boy did. He topped it off and he shook it out. Lexus Maximus didn't quite go to the brim, but is 8 tenths back. Will want to try and close that gap with a little bit of slip. I've got to say, Alexis Maximus has absolutely spanked his overtake button like it is the first time he's seen one. He is only, we're not even at the halfway point, and he's got little to no overtake left. Ketulu in a very similar situation. Cool Dude Boy, he has got loads, absolutely loads, and I think it's going to be a sayonara to the two Aston Martin drivers when Cool Dude Boy decides he's going to let leash that overtake, as we see with that slipstream. Alexis Maximus coming round that Jordan to retake second, but under braking, can he maintain it into the second chicane? He does briefly, and Cool Dude Boy just tucks in behind. Another interesting line through there, but clearly penalties are switched off. So there's the Brawn running 4.3 seconds back. Still very lonely on the track. Still no one to really race with. It's almost like a bit of a time trial for Wolfbane at the moment on those soft compound tyres. Just needs to get in the rhythm and basically just not make any mistakes. And hope, and really hope, those guys out in the top three, something goes wrong. That's what all he can hope for at the moment. A Jam, the lead Ferrari, just coming out of Mulsanne curve for the sixth time. 5.6 seconds behind Wolfbane, which is some deficit to make up. 3.1 ahead of Drunk Susan. Talking to drunk, I could really do with a drink. TB4 just making the move there on a bad to the bone, the US driver, who's going to come straight back at him in that beautiful liveried car. I love that car, so really, really cool. Does get that position back, holds on, but for how long? Because it looks like there's quite a good battle between the Brawn driver Drunk Susan, TB4, and the American driver Bad Puasso. Holding on though, can he hold on any longer as the Brawn comes through yet again round the outside, into the braking zone they will go very soon. They're coming through the Porsche curves, just going to have to let off at the end of the Porsche curves here, and we can see, it was very jittery, but we can see that TB4 has managed to win out that little battle as they head down to the forward chicane to complete lap 6 of 15 here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. And we still have this battle raging out in front. Cthulhu, Cool Dude Boy, and Alexis Maximus. They are fighting for, in fact this is the battle for 1, 2, 3. And although Cool Dude Boy's got loads and loads of overtake left and could use it, but it just seems at the moment that whenever he does get past Alexis Maximus, he's then under so much pressure from Alexis Maximus that he can't then make that move on Cthulhu. Alexis Maximus takes the lead of the race from his teammate Cthulhu. Cool Dude Boy using the slipstream to come through. Is this where he does a double overtake? He does make the double overtake, can't make it stick through the chicane side by side, but he does come out onto the second part of the Mulsanne, and it is a side by side battle coming down to the second chicane. Look at those two cars, and he has to tuck in Alexis Maximus in behind Cool Dude Boy. He's got that move done and taken the lead of this race, but again, with that slipstream so strong, the Aston Martin coming back at him, got the inside line, retakes the lead of the race. Can he come round the outside? Little jump over the curb. That's going to slow him down. It's going to cost him a little bit of time as they head down now to the Mulsanne corner at the end of this, the third of the long straights, a long Mulsanne. But Cthulhu's still sticking with them. You can see them in the distance. That's Wolfbane. How does this battle allow Wolfbane just to close the gap a little bit on these three that are battling out in front? The Jordan drops back down to second. Alexis Maximus, the Spanish driver, leads this race. We've got a Brit sandwiched between two Spanish drivers, sandwiched between two Aston Martins. 3.3 seconds back. He hasn't got any closer, really. You can just see him in the distance there. Is Wolfbane, and I wonder what sort of view Wolfbane's getting of this battle out ahead, because you would imagine that it looks pretty cool from the front of Wolfbane's car, right? Just having a look from here. As the battle rages on ahead, when we get on to the straight, after we get through Indianapolis, around this right-hander, we'll see. You can see that he's only 3 seconds back, and if any one of those three, Alexis Maximus, Cool Dude Boy and Cthulhu, have it coming together, he is poised, Wolfbane, to absolutely get involved and capitalise on that, as you see Cool Dude Boy yet again having a go at taking the lead of this race. He has led briefly, but hasn't been able to capitalise on the additional overtake he has on board. I think it's just the fact that you've got Alexis Maximus and Cthulhu both on the soft compound tyre, and it just gives them that little bit more impetus in and out of the corners. They've got the grip coming out, they've got the braking going in, but just can't at the moment seem to pull away from that medium compound tyre runner in Cool Dude Boy. And he is going side by side now as they head to Dunlop. This is a really, really good place to make an overtake. If he can get a little bit of a gap now through this little section, he might be far enough away from those two Aston Martins as they go into Mulsanne.
We're still working the...
So K2 is back in third, led the race for so long, along with his teammate Alexis Maximus. But now Cool Dude Boy has taken the lead. But how long can he hold on? He's got those two Aston Martins in his slipstream. And remember, they are on those softer compound tyres, which gives them that little bit of an edge with braking and with traction out of the corners. They will start to feel the tyre wear in a couple of laps, but we are expecting them to be pitting on lap 10 for the second stop, and that's when I imagine we'll see everybody changing out their tyres. And you can see there, look, I mean, it's tucked right in behind, and here we go. This is the move. Alexis Maximus going to retake the lead of this race side by side. There's nothing nothing at all you can do to defend, and that is K2 helping out his teammate with a little bit of a bump and using that slipstream to also get ahead of Cool Dude Boy. And the 1, 2, 3 changes yet again, and we will have a look further down the order in a minute, but at the moment the 1, 2, 3 battle here going on is absolutely on fire. These guys have changed position 11 or 12 times in the last couple of laps. Literally every single time they get tucked into a little bit of a slipstream, someone's taking advantage. It's going to be difficult for Cool Dude Boy because he's got two teammates working together, working against him. So they're going to bump draft each other. They're going to offer each other up as much slipstream as possible, and they're going to try and keep him sandwiched between them and make his life as difficult as possible. Let's get to the back of the pack very quickly. We'll have a look much further down. Where are we looking? Why is it showing me that and not that one? There we go. So Alohi, or whatever his name is, he is 35 seconds off the lead, 6.3 seconds behind the Portuguese driver in Turo. He is just behind his teammate Spunkmeyer in 11th place. I'm sure it's not Spunkmeyer, but it is now. Digi 1.6 seconds up in the Ferrari, 2.9 seconds behind the Greek driver Illusion in that Lotus. Bad to the bone, and that is a crazy line. And let me tell you something, my friend, as much as you like to think that that's okay, you cannot park that there. I said you
can't park that there, mate.
So there we go. He's back on track now, of course. It has been very good, actually. We haven't seen that many offs so far. But there is a battle there. Illusion capitalising on that, trying to make the move. Can he get out? And that is an absolute clamp straight into the back of that car as they're coming through there. That was absolutely shocking. You can see here from this perspective, as he comes through, the camera coming together and just spins him round. I don't know how he managed to rescue that, to be fair. The fact he's got some damage, hopefully that might not, well, in fact, that's going to cause him a whole heap of problems, because that's dropped him down to 12th place. That was an absolutely shocking bit of driving there from Illusion, using all of the pit manoeuvre techniques he has learnt in his life as a getaway driver to get through then. And I'll tell you what, if I were bad to the bone, I would be pissed right now, but it is what it is. Cool Dude Boys retaking the lead. Alexis Maximus in the front too. Cthulhu no longer has Alexis Maximus in the front too. Cthulhu no longer has Alexis Maximus in there helping him fight Cool Dude Boy, and that has allowed Cool Dude Boy to open up a gap of 2.8 seconds. Now it could be that these soft compound tyres are just starting to go off just starting to lose that rear wheel grip that's been keeping them in the lead of this race thus far. And we'll see how much time Alexis Maximus lost. Well, you can see there, they were 3 seconds ahead of Wolfbane, the top three. Wolfbane is now 5.9 seconds ahead of Alexis Maximus. So that's an 8-second loss for the Aston Martin driver. And now Jam can see him. Jam has him firmly in his sights, as does Drunk Susan in 6th in that Lotus, and he's really closing in on the back of that Jam Field Ferrari. On the medium tyres, of course, Jam is on the soft compound tyres, so again we'll be suffering a little bit the same way that Alexis Maximus and Cthulhu have been on those softs, just as they start to lose his grip. If they are coming in on lap 10, it's going to be a difficult lap and a bit to go for those guys. TB4 is ahead of Illusion, but Illusion battling with Digi, and there's back and forth between these two, and it has been for a little while now. Digi tucked in behind Illusion, although I feel Illusion's probably going to have a penalty coming his way for absolutely melting it into a bad post of the US-based driver. Spunkmeyer in 10th. You can see that battle ahead, 1.2 seconds ahead. If they ever coming together, that could be capitalised on, if he gets the opportunity, of course, as they cross the line to start lap 10. This will be when we'll see them all coming into the pits, maybe. Is this the pit lap? Or are one or two going to hold on a little bit longer? You can see those hard compound tyres still holding out. Are the hard compound tyres runners going to change the tyre? They don't need to change the tyres. They've got enough grip to take them to the end of this race. It's whether they want to put on some tyres that are gamefully better. Digi has it looks like he put fresh tyres on in the last stop, because those tyres are looking okay. So currently running in 9th, 4/10 behind Illusion on the medium compound tyres. Some will put this lap. To be fair, I think some could hold out to lap 11 if they really wanted to. But I think if you're going to split this up into 2, you might as well do 5, 5, 5. Let's have a look at your race leader. There is Cool Dude Boy. Now Cthulhu doesn't have Alexis Maximus to help them out. Cool Dude Boy is able to just breeze off into the sunset, 3.6 seconds. He now leads this race by in that Jordan, and his teammate's letting the side down at the moment because his teammate is way back in. The keys are broken a little bit. Way back in 13th position is Aloha, 41 seconds behind his teammate Cool Dude Boy. Cthulhu for Aston Martin staying in the top 2, 3.6 seconds behind. Wolfbane not able to close in, but I did say any little issue out in front they'd be able to capitalise on, and they've done so. Tyres looking a little bit ropey now though, but they are up into 3rd, lapping very similar times to Alexis Maximus behind them. So that 5 seconds, are they going to be able to do something in the pit cycle maybe? In terms of fuel, I mean, some have fueled a little bit more than others. The Aston Martin's a little bit under fueled. Everybody else pretty much full tank. And we finally see a sub 320. We didn't get one in qualifying, but we've just had one now. That's a 3:19.5 from your current championship leader, leader of constructors, leader of the drivers' championship, and your leader here today, and about to break the record of a different driver winning every race by being the first driver this season to win 2, and he pulls into the pits for his second and last stop. Cthulhu in, Wolfbane in, Alexis Maximus is in, of course. Drunk Susan in. It's so boring when all cars go at the same time, isn't it? Really boring. Come on, guys. Someone do something different. If you're kind of midfield or a little bit further back, why would you not try something a little bit different, maybe? Maybe save some fuel, go a little bit slower, a little bit longer, and then be able to absolutely melt it towards the end. I don't know. It looks to me like the fuel is finely tuned this race, so there isn't really much option to play with it, to be fair, because it looks like a full tank is simply enough for 5 laps, and that's it. So we are into the final third of this race. This is the Sunday Night League Formula X Championship, live from Black Flag Racing TV Towers and the Circuit de la Sarthe in Francia. And this was the home, of course, of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which we all had the pleasure of watching. I don't know if you watched it today. I watched it. But we all had the pleasure of being able to do so. At one stage last night, I was watching the Le Mans, the Champions League final, and Black Flag Racing Team practicing for doing a 2-hour practice for the 8 hours of Watkins Glen, which is next weekend in the ERF. Very, very, very attention heavy evening yesterday for that. I'd like to congratulate Man City on winning, but I really don't care. The only thing I care about is the fact that now somebody else in England's won a European trophy that means more than the Europa Conference League. Then maybe the West Ham fans might shut up. 11.2 seconds is now the lead for Cool Dude Boy. It would take a monumental fuck up to throw away from this stage. And to be fair, he's been looking pretty darn racy all day. Hasn't really put a foot wrong in that, Jordan. Really put the willies up. The 2 Aston Martin drivers have stayed on those medium compound tyres as well. So he's gone for a no tyre change strategy, just fuel for Cool Dude Boy. Is there any real benefit to it? I think if you're trying to do something in the pits, maybe, but he was already ahead. He's got other tyres he can use. He can't keep those tyres and carry them forward. You might as well use them. Ketulu, 5.6 seconds ahead of Wolfbane. That gap now, it's just got a lot worse for Alexis Maximus, because they have not only dropped from the top 3 to 4th, in this pit cycle now, they are back in 6th. Drunk Susan up to 4th, and only 8 tenths behind Wolfbane in the Brawn. So that Lotus vying for a place in that top 3. 3rd place still very much up for grabs at the moment, I feel. Alexis Maximus makes the move on the jam-filled Ferrari. It's very sticky though, so be careful. It has moved back up into 5th, but I can't imagine the Ferrari and conversely the TB4 in the Brawn behind are going to let this Aston Martin disappear off up the road. It hasn't been going so well for Alexis Maximus thus far. Has found himself just tanking through the order actually. And you can see there the 340.3, 334, laps 5 and 6 were not kind to the Aston Martin, and the jam-filled Ferrari through the Porsche curves back up into 5th position to try and close that 6.5 seconds on a Drunk Susan. Bad Posa in 8th place. Currently 3.3 seconds or 12 seconds behind TB4 as Jam drops again to 6th place. Those two still battling out, still going at it, and not giving it up just yet. What happened to Jam? Jam has had some sort of mistake somewhere, because Alexis Maximus and TB4 are now battling for 5th and 6th, and at the moment TB4 in the Brawn is just starting to close up on Drunk Susan, who conversely is closing up on Wolfbane. Spunkmeyer, the British driver, is in 9th place, 1 second clear of Illusion, who's a couple of places back from Bad Posa, who he smacked the living shit out of in stint number 2. Digi in the other Ferrari, 3.2 seconds back. Then Intulu, the Portuguese driver. He's a Portugueser, isn't he? He's a Portugueser. He is just under a second back from Digi. And then 4.8 seconds to Aloha, way back there in 13th position. No change out front other than the fact the gap has just got bigger. Said to his mum. Cthulhu is he's looking good for second, to be fair, and I think on balance probably deserves it. It's been good racing out there in front. Cthulhu is currently running second, 4.7 seconds the gap to Wolfbane, who hasn't really been able to close up that gap all day. He's now running on the medium compound tyres. Cool Dude Boy hasn't even changed tyres, has stayed on the same tyres for this entire race actually. That 12 of 15. Wolfbane on the soft compounds. They have done, I mean, the last lap was an out lap, so not really difficult to find the representative. We'll see what representative pace is like at the end of this, which is lap 12, and then we'll see if they are making any significant inroads into Kulu, and if it's possible to counter. Anything's possible if the other car crashes. Drunk Susan has closed that gap on Wolfbane to 1.9 seconds and opened up the gap from Wolfbane's teammate TB4 to 8.5. So I think this is a viable battle for third right here. I don't think we're going to see these cars get involved in that. They're a little bit too far back at this stage, particularly with 3 and a bit laps remaining. But 5th and 6th are still up for grabs, and these two battling out of the moment, TB4 and Alexis Maximus. I don't know why I'm saying it in that kind of epic way. What have the Romans done for us? Spanish driver, of course. Nothing to do with Romans. The jammy Ferrari. It's 2.9 seconds now back from that battle for 5th and 6th. It's on the soft compound tyre, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility to get back involved if you can get those tyres working. It's just put in a personal best in that sector. We're about to start seeing what times everyone's putting in on this final stint of the race. Cool Dude Boy did 3:21.5. Kind of fastest man on the track with a 3:19.5. Cthulhu 24.4, a gap 15.4 seconds, is dropping into the clutches of Wolfbane, who with a 3:21.3, fastest lap of their race thus far, really closing that gap. So I think I don't think the battle for second is over. I think Wolfbane is very much going to get involved in that. Has opened up the gap to Drunk Susan by a couple of seconds. It's 3.2 seconds now between Drunk Susan and Wolfbane. So Drunk Susan not potentially challenging for third, but now we know there is very likely to be a battle for second between Cthulhu and Wolfbane. Certainly, if not this lap, but certainly lap 14, we might see those two getting a darn sight closer than should be safe to do with clothes on. TB4 is not so safe there in 5th. Here comes Alexis Maximus up into 5th. Can they retain it side by side? Alexis Maximus using a very interesting line off the racing track to try and regain that position. Tucked in behind, of course. Now, the thing is about Le Mans is if you are going to make an overtake with the slipstream, bear in mind it's so strong, particularly in these Super Formula cars, you're best doing it on the third of the 3 straights. So staying tucked in behind through Mulsanne 1 and 2, and then in Mulsanne 3 is when you really, then you make the move. So bump draft them along, let them pull you along, stay tucked under that wing, because Jan is now getting involved there. 1.2 seconds back on the racing soft tyres. Some 11 seconds back is our brother from another mother across the Atlantic Ocean. 3.4 seconds ahead of the driver who decided that he wanted to put some holes in the side of that orange liveried motor car. There is Illusion, and it's not an illusion, that is Spunk behind him. Spunk Mile 1001, 7/10 of a second behind Illusion. 4.3 ahead of Intulu, the Portugueser, who is not at the moment giving himself any breathing room from a Digi back in 12th, the other Ferrari driver. And staying in touch, Aloha, 3.2 seconds back in the other Jordan. Talking of the Jordan, Sovereign Slayer, hello, why? I often give my opinion on people. When you know a race is on, why would you join a freaking lobby? If you don't belong in the lobby, and you can see that it's a specific lobby for a specific race, then learn to read, man. Get out of the fucking room, idiot. Genuinely, the world is full of stupid people. But he's not stupid. Cool dude, boy. He got his tactics absolutely spot on. Decided to go with just the one set of medium tyres for the entire race, and got the job done. Got himself up into that top 3 early doors. Had some interesting battles with Cthulhu and Alexis Maximus, but held on to his overtake, where they just absolutely burnt through it like it was getting refilled. But it never got refilled, and eventually Alexis Maximus fell out of that top 3 after making some errors. That allowed Wolfbane up into 3rd, who is only 1.2 seconds behind Cthulhu here on lap 14. And I'll tell you what, if I were Cthulhu, be afraid, be very afraid, because the Wolfbane is coming, and it's going to be, he may well prove to be the bane of your life in a corner or two, because he's within that 1 second window. The chase down has finished and the attack begins. This is the view from the chase cam of Wolfbane, closing in on the back of that Aston Martin in the Brawn. He's going to pull out to the right hand side. No, he's going to do exactly the right thing. He's going to bump that Aston Martin up towards the second of these 2 chicanes. Then good exit here, and he's going to make the move. That's an incredibly interesting line through there. Clear. Oh no! Oh, it gets very, very wobbly, and that allows Cthulhu just to breathe a sigh of relief, because Wolfbane's not going to be able to make the move there, because they're going to come up to the Mulsanne kink. Right now, on the brakes they go into this interesting corner. And the reason it's interesting is you haven't had to brake for any corner for some time when you get in there, quite as much as you do for that one. Then we got another long run. Can this move get done before we get to Indianapolis? That would be the ideal. Pull it out to the right hand side. Of course, Cthulhu's going to defend that inside. Pulled across in front, a little bit closer than you even imagined. Close, yes, it's close. Cthulhu trying to come back at him. Remember, Wolfbane's on the soft compound tyres, Cthulhu on the medium tyres. Kicking up some dust is the Spanish driver, and round they go. This is a long run now. Well, I say long run. It's a reasonably long run down to the Porsche curves. In the distance there we could see 7.7 seconds in the distance, of course. Drunk Susan coming home after a skinful, and we can see there that now Wolfbane has got past. The gap is already opening out as we come down to the forward chicane. Cthulhu desperately needs to keep this within half a second to stand a chance of taking this on the final lap. So as we start at 15, and there is Cool Dude Boy doing just that. Leads by 17.9 seconds, 18 seconds for the count. And a monumental fuck up or a disconnection is the only thing that's going to stop Cool Dude Boy from taking the win. And the extra point, 31 points, the extra point for fastest lap. Wolfbane chased down Cthulhu, having got himself into the top 3 when Alexis Maximus made an error, and chased down Cthulhu after the second pit stop in this final stint, and now has opened up the gap 1.8 seconds. Going to be very difficult now for Cthulhu to catch. 8.9 seconds back is Drunk Susan outside that top 4. It's going to be a disconnection or some sort of epic crash that's going to get Drunk Susan into that top 3 now, but is safely far enough away from the sticky Ferrari of Jam. However, Jam is not very far away from the not sticky Aston Martin of Alexis Maximus, and this might be an opportunity for Alexis Maximus to retrieve something from a race that they were very much involved in the top 2 for for a large proportion of the early stage. Themselves and Cthulhu really dominated the early stages of this race until, of course, Cool Dude Boy decided to get involved up there in the top 3. Can Alexis Maximus rescue some extra points, get up into that top 5? Or is the sticky Ferrari, the jammy Ferrari, gonna stay ahead? They're side by side down Mulsanne. Drunk Susan is 7 seconds up the road. They're not going to be involved here. You can see them just at the end of the straight there going into the second chicane. Alexis Maximus side by side with Jam. Jam the inside line into the chicane, retains 5th place, but there's going to be another run now down to the Mulsanne curve right at the end, and Alexis Maximus with a much better exit gets out in front, but can they hold on before the braking zone here? There's only really going to be a couple of opportunities for these two to cement their place, and that's Jam making that move back again round the outside. Alexis Maximus back into 5th. They are swapping 5th between them constantly. To me, to you, to me, to you. That's exactly how it's going on. So Alexis Maximus with the upper hand over Jam. Jam, though, side by side, retakes the position as they're side by side. But again, can they hold on? Is there enough power? When I'm looking, there's no overtake on board for Alexis Maximus. There is a little bit of overtake for Jam, but not a lot. TB4 is back in 11th place. I don't want to miss the winner crossing the line, which I'll probably have to go and look at now. There is Cool Dude Boy coming into the forward chicane. He is your winner today. Congratulations to the winner of this particular race. Cool Dude Boy takes that win convincingly. 17 of your great British seconds from Wolfbane, who got himself up into 2nd. Great chase down from Wolfbane to take 2nd place. Just hung there in 4th at the right time. Cthulhu takes 3rd. Drunk Susan will take 4th place into the 4th chicane in that Lotus. Comes a Drunk Susan in 4th. But we've still got this battle for 5th and 6th, which Alexis Maximus just pips the jammy Ferrari into 5th and 6th. TB4 in the Brawn across the line. That is 7th place for the Brawn, and it's not an illusion. It's a Lotus across the line in 8th, but possibly a penalty to come for smashing into this guy, the American driver, bad to the bone. Spunkwire comes home to round out the top 10. Into is in 11th, Digi in 12th, and Aloha 1 second back comes home in 13th. How's about that? And that was a pretty darn good race, wasn't it? All very, very close. Let's have the full rundown. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming here all in the SF23 Super Formula Honda 2023. I don't think it's necessary to put 23 in the name of the car twice, because it's just not freaking necessary. Fastest man on 2 wheels. There's two drivers went sub 320. That was Wolfbane and Cool Dude Boy. Cool Dude Boy with a 3:19.5 gets the extra point for the fastest lap. But it was Cool Dude Boy with the full 30 points today. Wolfbane picks up 25 for 2nd. Cthulhu in 3rd. Drunk Susan in 4th. Alexis Maximus was in 5th. SNL Jam was in 6th. TB4 in 7th. Illusion in 8th. The Greek driver. Bada Pausa comes home in 9th. Spunkmeyer comes home in 10th. Intulu, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, I could be wrong. The Portuguesa finishes in 11th place. Digital is it Digital Blasphemy? Oh, Digital Blasphemy, they're not biased for me. Digital Blasphemy in 12th, or Digi as he's commonly known, and Alohi rounds out the race in 13th position. So there we have it, another race done and dusted for SNL. Will we be back next week? Only if they don't hate me. We will try and fix the issue with their YouTube not accepting my profanity, and you can probably catch us live there next week, maybe. Maybe not. We'll be live. Whatever happens, we will be live here on Black Flag Racing TV. We're always live here on Black Flag Racing TV. We've got loads of stuff coming up in the next few weeks. In particular, the start of the Black Flag Mini Challenge. It is a very specifically tuned set of the new minis, tuned for some short track racing. 3 races back to back with weight penalties, not weight penalties, ECU penalties going to the top 3 of race number 1. 3 15-minute back-to-back races. And I can tell you, we did a test event last Tuesday, and it was awesome. And there was different winners of every race, and it was very, very close. And me, as you well know, as a backmarker, I led one of the races for a significant portion, a really good battle actually for the top 3. But we're done, we're dusted, we're finished. This has been the SNL Formula X Championship, Season 5, round number 5, from the Circuit de la Sarthe in sunny France. And I've been Open Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV, and it has been emotional.